The rain had been falling for 3 days straight, not a storm, not a downpour, just the steady, whispering drizzle that Seattle was famous for. Mark Thompson stood at the kitchen counter, staring at the window as thin streams of water traced trembling paths down the glass. It was 6:17 a.m., the usual time his wife, Emily, came downstairs, already dressed for work, hair lightly curled, smelling of citrus shampoo and warm vanilla. But today, something was off. He heard her footsteps, hesitant, slow, almost careful, and when she stepped into the kitchen, she didn't offer her usual soft smile. Instead, she stiffened at the sight of him, as if she had expected him to already be gone. "Morning," she said. A little too quickly. A little too rehearsed. Mark turned. "You're up early." Emily's hand flinched. She tightened her grip on the strap of her purse. "I have a meeting. Before 7. She looked away. "It's a new project. We're trying to impress a client." Mark studied her. The faint tremble in her voice. The light layer of makeup she never wore this early. The glossy new lipstick. The perfume, expensive, floral, he'd never smelled on her before. Outside, a car engine hummed on the street. Emily checked her phone. The screen lit her face in a cold glow. A message popped up. Her expression froze. Fear? Guilt? Something she tried to blink away. Mark stepped closer. "Everything okay?" She locked the screen so fast it felt like a slap. "Yeah," she whispered. "Just work stuff." Then she leaned in and kissed him, a quick, distracted peck. Not the way she used to, with her hand resting on his chest, with warmth that lingered even after she walked out the door. No. This was mechanical. Automatic. A car horn beeped outside. Emily jolted. "I really have to go." She slipped out before he could respond. The front door clicked shut. Mark stood there, staring at the empty space she'd left behind, feeling the first cold drip of suspicion slide into his chest like the rain sliding down the windows. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. And deep down, beneath the soft whisper of Seattle rain, he felt the shift. The moment the ground beneath a marriage starts to move. He didn't know it yet, but this morning would be the beginning of the unraveling. The day dragged on with the usual rhythm of Mark's routine, meetings, client calls, spreadsheets, but something gnawed at him beneath the surface like a loose thread tugging and tugging. He couldn't shake the image of Emily's startled expression when her phone lit up. The way she practically ran out of the house. The car horn. The unfamiliar perfume. By noon, he had replayed the morning in his mind so many times, it felt like a scene from someone else's life. Something raw. Something quietly breaking. At 5:12 p.m., the rain let up just enough to expose the neon glow of Capitol Hill through his office window. He texted Emily. "Mark, want me to pick you up from work? Rain's brutal today." 5 minutes passed. 10. Then her reply came. "Emily, no, it's fine. I'm staying late. Another meeting." She almost never stayed late. He typed back. "Mark, need dinner." Her answer arrived instantly this time. "Emily, already ate. Don't wait up." Mark set his phone down slowly. Her quick replies came only when she wanted to shut the conversation down. He knew her patterns, they'd been married 8 years. He knew when she was tired, when she was stressed, when she wanted affection, even when she wanted silence. But this wasn't silence. This was distance. A distance that wasn't there 3 weeks ago. At home, the house felt different. Too quiet. Too clean. Emily had always left little signs of her presence everywhere, a mug half-finished near the sink, a sweater tossed over a chair, her heels by the door. Tonight, nothing. He walked into the bedroom and noticed something else. Her red dress, the one she wore only on special occasions, was gone from its hanger. Mark swallowed hard. Memories flickered. Emily laughing in that dress during their anniversary dinner. Her saying it made her feel electric. Her whispering that she liked when he noticed. Now it was missing. He tried to steady his breathing. He wasn't a paranoid man. He wasn't jealous or controlling. Their marriage had always been built on trust, real trust, not lip service. Neither of them had ever given the other a reason to doubt. Until now. He checked the clock. 9:23 p.m. She still wasn't home. He decided not to call. Not because he didn't want to, but because he wanted to see what she would do without being prompted. At 10:47, the sound of her key finally scraped against the lock. Emily stepped inside quietly, as if hoping he'd be asleep. He wasn't. He stood in the living room, arms crossed loosely, pretending to watch a muted news report. She froze for half a second, just like that morning. "You're still up," she said, taking off her coat but avoiding eye contact. "Couldn't sleep." Mark studied her. Her lipstick was faded, but still visible. Her hair was messy in a way that didn't look like work. Her cheeks were flushed despite the cold. She had that glow, not from long hours at the office, but from something else. "Long meeting?" he asked lightly. She said, dropping her purse on the couch. "Exhausting." Her voice trembled ever so slightly. Not enough for most people to notice, but Mark did. He approached her slowly. "Emily, is everything okay?" She turned her back to him under the pretense of hanging her coat. "Yeah. Just work stress." She said it too calmly. Too neatly. Like a line she'd rehearsed. Mark opened his mouth to say something, to ask more, to push gently, to show he wasn't blind, but she suddenly stepped toward him and kissed him softly. It shocked him. A kiss, yes, but one that tasted like guilt, not affection. "We'll talk tomorrow," she whispered. And before he could respond, she slipped into the bedroom and closed the door behind her. Mark stood there alone, listening to the soft patter of rain returning outside. That kiss didn't comfort him. It confirmed everything he feared. The next morning, Emily left the house earlier than usual again. Same hurried steps. Same clipped tone. Same perfume. Same lie about early meetings. Mark waited 10 minutes before walking into the bedroom, his stomach tight. Emily had left her moisturizer open on the dresser. Her hairbrush. Her book. Her sunglasses. And her jewelry box, slightly ajar. One glance inside made his heart drop. Her wedding ring wasn't there. She hadn't been wearing it. Not yesterday. Not today. Not during her late meeting. Not this morning. His chest tightened painfully. Emily never forgot her ring. Never. Their wedding bands were engraved on the inside. Always, no matter the storm. In Seattle, the city of storms, that promise had always felt poetic. Now, it felt like a bad joke. Mark sat on the edge of the bed, gripping the edge of the blanket. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't imagination. This wasn't insecurity. Something was happening. Someone else was happening. He stood up, opened the window, and let the cold, wet Seattle air hit his face. The rain smelled different today, sharper, heavier. Like a warning. Like the beginning of something he wasn't ready to face. But the truth was coming. And the first crack had just broken open. On Friday, the rain finally broke for a moment, giving Seattle one of those rare, fragile hours of sunlight that made the wet pavement shimmer like glass. Mark stepped outside his office on 7th Avenue during lunch break, trying to clear his head. But the week's tension clung to him like humidity, persistent, suffocating. He looked at his reflection in a shop window. He looked tired. Older. He took a slow breath. Maybe he was imagining everything. Maybe Emily truly was overwhelmed at work. Maybe the new perfume was just a phase, the early mornings a coincidence, the missing wedding ring, an accident. Then his phone buzzed. Emily, going to yoga after work. Don't wait for me. Yoga? She hadn't been to yoga in almost a year. Mark, which studio? The three dots appeared. Then vanished. Appeared again. Vanished. Finally. Emily, the one on Pine. See you later. But Mark knew the studio on Pine closed months ago. He closed his eyes. His hands started shaking. This wasn't paranoia. This was a lie. A clean, effortless lie. The kind people tell when they've practiced. That evening, Emily left the house at 5:03 p.m. wearing the red leggings she used to wear when she jogged. She grabbed her mat, ironically the same one Mark bought her for Christmas. He watched her from the window. She didn't look like she was heading to yoga. She looked like someone going to meet someone. Someone she wanted to look good for. Mark debated following her. His keys were in his hand. But something inside him, pride, fear, exhaustion, held him back. Instead, he said nothing. He let her leave. He sat on the couch, staring at the silent house around him. He reached for the remote when he heard it. A soft vibration from the bedroom. Emily's tablet. She never took it with her, she always forgot it. Mark swallowed. He didn't intend to snoop. He didn't want to be that husband. But the tablet buzzed again. Then again. He walked into the bedroom, each step slow, unsure, heavy. The screen glowed. A message preview popped up. Unknown number. I'm outside. Take your time. Same spot as last time. Can't wait to see you. Mark's breath stopped. He didn't blink. Another message. Unknown number. If your husband asks, you're at yoga, right? Winking face. His knees almost buckled. The room felt too small. Too bright. Too sharp. His heart hammered against his ribcage like it was trying to break free. He lifted the tablet. The lock screen required a passcode. Emily's birthday didn't work. Their anniversary didn't work. The backup code they shared didn't work. She changed it. Of course she did. Mark put the tablet down gently, as if it were a bomb. There it was. Proof. Concrete. Undeniable. Cruel. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall until the tears he didn't even feel slide down his cheeks. The type of tears a grown man cries only once or twice in his life, when something fundamental breaks. He wasn't angry yet. Only shattered. Utterly, quietly shattered. He didn't know how long he'd been sitting before he finally stood. His legs were trembling. He grabbed his jacket. His keys. His phone. He didn't care how pathetic it was. He didn't care if he looked desperate. He didn't care if he was walking straight into the most painful moment of his life. He needed to know. The message said same spot as last time. But where was that? Emily's car was gone, but she always parked in a particular garage when she went downtown. She'd used it for years. She liked the attendance. She said it felt safe. That felt like the place to start. Mark drove through downtown Seattle, the sky darkening again as the rain threatened to return. Traffic crawled. Pedestrians rushed by under umbrellas, faces blurry in the neon reflections. When he turned the corner by Westlake, he saw it. Emily's car. Parked near the edge of the lot. But she wasn't inside. Mark parked 2 rows over, his hands gripping the wheel so tightly his knuckles were white. His breath was shallow. His pulse raced. He scanned the area. And then he saw her. Across the street. Near a coffee shop awning. Standing with a man. Tall. Athletic build. Dark hair. Dressed far too well for yoga night. Emily laughed at something he said, a laugh Mark hadn't heard from her in months. Light. Breathless. Intimate. The man reached out and brushed a strand of wet hair from her face. Emily didn't stop him. She leaned into his touch. Mark felt the air leave his lungs in a single violent exhale, as if someone had punched him. He couldn't look away. Couldn't blink. Couldn't breathe. Everything around him blurred, the lights, the rain, the cars, until there was only the two of them standing under that awning, lit by the neon sign overhead. Emily said something and the man smiled, the confident, easy smile of a man who knew he had something that didn't belong to him. Then they embraced. Not as friends. Not as colleagues. As lovers. Mark's vision went hot and watery. He pressed a hand to his mouth to stop the sound rising in his throat. His entire world tilted. He felt physically sick. He thought he might faint. The rain finally started falling again, heavier than before, drumming on the car roof like an approaching storm. Inside his chest, something broke so loudly he swore he heard it. Mark sat in his car, soaked in the neon glow reflected through the rain-streaked windshield, watching the two of them disappear around the corner. He didn't follow. He couldn't move. His whole body felt numb, as if shock had frozen every muscle. The betrayal wasn't abstract anymore. It had a face. A voice. A hand brushing Emily's cheek. The city around him kept moving, buses groaning, streetlights flickering, people rushing under umbrellas, but Mark sat still, hollow and trembling, as if he'd fallen through a crack in the world. When he finally drove home, the rain had softened again. Seattle's usual melancholy drizzle. Somehow colder now. Emily came home at midnight. Her hair was damp. Her cheeks were flushed. She smelled of the same perfume, and something else under it. Something intimate. She didn't expect him awake. "Hey," she whispered cautiously. "You're up." Mark's voice cracked. "Where were you?" She froze. "I told you. Yoga." He stared at her, eyes red, expression empty. Her lie hung in the air like smoke. "Emily," his voice was raw. "Please don't." Her face shifted, fear, guilt, calculation, all flickering in an instant. Then she exhaled sharply. "Okay," she said softly. "Let's not do this tonight." She tried to walk past him. Mark stepped in her way. "Who is he?" Emily's eyes widened. Her lips parted. Then, a tiny, almost imperceptible shake of her head. "Mark, don't." "Don't what?" His voice rose. "Don't ask. Don't know. Don't exist. Mark. I saw you." Her face drained of color. The room went silent. "I saw you," Mark repeated, quieter this time. "Broken. Devastated. With him. Tonight. Under the awning. Laughing. Touching. Kissing." Emily's breath hitched. Mark's eyes were glassy, pleading, destroyed. "Why?" he whispered. Not angry. Just deeply, desperately hurt. Emily didn't answer. She just closed her eyes, as if bracing for impact. She walked to the couch and sat down, spine rigid, fingers trembling. Mark remained standing. After a long, suffocating silence, Emily finally spoke, her voice barely audible. It wasn't supposed to happen." "That means nothing to me," Mark said. She swallowed. "We were working late one night and things shifted. I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking." "You do," Mark said quietly. "You were thinking about him." Emily looked at the floor. It was supposed to stop, she whispered. But it didn't. She shook her head slowly. For Mark, something inside collapsed. A pillar. A foundation. A history. Gone. How long? He asked. A tear slipped down her cheek. 3 months. Mark's breath left him in a slow, painful exhale. 3 months. 3 months of lies. 3 months of her slipping away. 3 months of pretending. You could have told me, he said, voice trembling. You could have talked to me. We could have tried to fix things. Emily looked up at him, eyes red, face pale. I know, she whispered. I know. Then why didn't you? Her lips quivered. Because, with him, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. The word stabbed him deeper than anything else could. Mark closed his eyes. Tears slid down silently. Emily covered her mouth, shaking. I'm sorry, she cried. Mark, I'm so sorry. But apologies were ashes on burned ground. Mark walked to the bedroom. Opened the closet. Took down his suitcase. Emily ran after him. Mark, please, don't do this, let's talk. There's nothing to talk about, he said softly. Please, she begged. We can go to therapy, we can take a break, we can. He zipped the suitcase. We already took a break, he said. You just didn't tell me. Emily sobbed, grabbing his arm. Don't leave. Please don't leave. I made a mistake, a horrible mistake, but I love you. Mark paused. Then he turned to her. His face was devastated, but calm. Emily, you loved me, he said. Past tense. She shook her head violently. No. People who love each other don't do what you did, Mark whispered. They don't hide. They don't lie every day. They don't take off their wedding ring. Emily broke down completely. Mark gently pulled his arm from her grasp. Goodbye, Emily. He walked out the door and didn't look back. Seattle's spring arrived slowly, with gray skies and cherry blossoms scattered along the sidewalks. Mark had moved to a small apartment in Ballard. Quiet. Close to the water. Peaceful. He was healing, not fully, not easily, but steadily. Some wounds didn't close neatly. Some didn't close at all. They simply scarred. Emily reached out a few times, long messages, apologies, confessions, but Mark didn't respond. He had nothing left to give her. She had broken the part of him that once held their marriage together. He wasn't vengeful. He wasn't angry anymore. Just done. One evening, Mark stood on the balcony overlooking the misty marina. The air smelled of salt and rain. The kind of calm scent that softened the edges of past pain. He held his wedding ring, cold, heavy, and looked at it one last time. Always, no matter the storm. Life, he realized, had storms far beyond what vows could ever promise against. He closed his hand around the ring, inhaled deeply, and let it fall into the water. The sound was soft, a tiny splash swallowed by the gentle waves. Mark felt lighter. Not healed. Not whole. But free. Seattle rain began to fall again, quiet, steady, familiar. For the first time in months, Mark didn't feel broken. He felt reborn.